Hello there! Welcome to the stream, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and newcomers alike. My name is Douglas, and today we're gonna be doing some more art streaming. Also, hello there, Zach and Pokemon1241. How are the both of you doing today? So as of until now, this entire week has been a gigantic stream fest of working on the comic, and today is the day I finish it up, I think. So that means we're gonna be working on more comic book pages. But since we're super close to being done, today's gonna be kinda all over the place. Illustration wise, we're gonna be doing the shading, which is the last part of the comic itself. Also gonna be looking at some backgrounds, and then if we have time, we're gonna go to the to pages 15, third panel, which is the one that is lacking a background there. And Pokemon, you're here for just a second about to stream. Sure thing. No worries about that, buddy. And have fun with yours. Zach, you sent me the link for the song and I queued it up. Thank you again. Man, yeah, sorry, but Twitch chat does not keep up history of the chat, so I lost the link you sent me yesterday. But now I have it. Thanks again for that. And you seem to be doing well. And for me, I'm doing good too. Today is a very cold Tuesday, even though there is sun. Oh, come on. Oh well, I guess my tablet doesn't want to work right now. So I'm gonna have to restart it. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the day. So it's Tuesday. It's very cold, same as the entire week, especially because it's been raining quite a lot. But despite being cold and having rained the entire week, it's very sunny today, right now, in the morning. I wonder if the sun will keep up throughout the rest of the day, because if it does, that would be delightful. But who knows? There we go. The tablet is back to working now. Also, Zach, I looked up into your into the thing you sent on Discord, and I feel like we should go with the latter, the other option you put up, which is getting a sketch done for you. Of your character and whatnot, just like you described in the thing. I don't think I will go with the former option. Actually, I won't go with the former option of having your character do a cameo in the comic. Mostly because so far there has been no cameos, and right now there is no spot for cameos. There's no new appearances that are gonna happen comic wise. That, and I don't want to set up a precedent for this new comic about, you know, people donating and showing up on cameos. It's nothing against you, but it's just I would rather not do that, but do the other thing instead. And Zach, you cut your finger in class, it hurts and it bleeds so much. Oh no. How did you do it? Did you already take care of it? Did you wash it with some antiseptic and put on some bandage on it? And how did that happen? I mean, I probably can hazard a few guesses as to how, considering you spend all of your day around very sharp cooking utensils, and not only that, but also around well, you know, there's a lot of accident that can happen in the kitchen. Anyway, despite it all, I hope you're doing good, better now, Zach. And if you're not, let me know if I can do anything to help. And there we go. This is the last thing I was missing from yesterday, was blending in a little bit the fur of the character to make it more make it so that the transition between one color and the other was smoother, not as sharp as it is currently. I'm gonna have a background car layer. And the way this layer will work, I feel, is that I'm gonna throw in a gray paint layer all over the place, and then delete the windows. I'm gonna do that because then I can there's this tool on Clip Studio Paint called Opacity Lock. It's a tool setting, a layer setting, and if I do that on that layer, I will, from turning that option on, I'll be allowed only to draw over where there has been a drawing already. I won't be able to add new color areas. I won't be able to colorize and paint on areas that have already been colorized. So what that truly does, or in a more broader term, what that will allow me to do is be able to paint the car with whatever color I want, however I want, without having to worry about painting over this area here that is gonna be the windows. And I'll leave that area blank for now, because later on I'm gonna be throwing in another background onto the windows, and that will be the world in itself, the environment. And also, hello there, Oni Boop3U2, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And Zach, he was immediately sent to the infirmary to get treated. Disinfectant, some medicines, then gauze, bandaged, then applied a safety glove. Cut your finger while you were chopping some topping for the ramen. Ugh. Damn. Somehow I hadn't pictured it up until now, until you said what happened. Then, for whatever reason, I pictured you chopping the veggies or whatever, and cutting your finger. I'm sorry for that, Zach. So, how common and happenstance is that, cutting yourself in class? Because I would imagine they would try to keep it to a minimum, but nonetheless, that is a thing that can still happen quite often. When I was in engineering school, college rather, they had a physics laboratory, one of the colleges I was in, and in this physics laboratory we did all sorts of experiments with things, or at least there was a promise that we would be able to do all sorts of physical experiments with all sorts of things in the future of the course that I didn't stuck around long enough for. And they did have those experiments. One of the first ones we did was it had this kind of wooden board with a lot of little transistors and things connected to it, various little pieces of electronics, and the idea was for us to connect some cables across the board and then measure the wattage and the voltage between certain connections further down the line. It was a electrical circuit, but done in real life instead of being just a theoretical electrical circuit, and it was very dope. But before we even started doing that, the teachers they spent a long time explaining the whole safety hazards of doing that, of messing around with electrical circuits. One such danger, as they said, was the possibility of getting electrocuted if you touch things with your hands, and because it is an electrical circuit, and we were in a college educational facility with lots of physical equipment, there was no like real limit to the voltage like you would have in a house, for example. There's only so much power that runs through your house electrical system. In the college facility there was no limit, so people could actually die, or at least get a hell of a shock in those things. So they spent a long time explaining a lot of safety procedures and dealing with the electrical circuit. But that has nothing to do with your story, Zach. Said that you soon after that the instructor made himself as your soft of assistant. What? What do you mean soft of assistant, Zach? You mean sort of assistant, or do you actually mean soft? Pokemon says thank you, good boy. Good boy. Good boy bot, said Jorg. He is the good boy bot. Programmed to warn you to be careful online, for evil boy bot might be spying on you, collecting your user data. The pesky evil boy bot might be doing all sorts of crazy shenanigans. You all gotta be careful about him. But what do you mean, Zach, that he made you sort of his assistant? Or how did that go? Or no, it was the other way around. He became your assistant in a way. And I would imagine that because you probably could not use your cooking utensils after that, he needed to go and do it for you, right? And also, because I know how much you guys have missed this, I brought the Persona 3 and 5 dancing Moon Knight and Starlight Night. Brought them back, the soundtrack for those games. There we go. Oh no, never mind. I still need to do the windows for this first panel here. The back windows, rather. But anyway. As it happens, this whole college experience I was talking about was very short-lived, because I think I was in that course for like, that college course for that one specifically. I think I was there for just a couple of months. And it was nice, but dog damn, that course made me realize how much I would not enjoy working with physics and you know, calculations in my everyday life. Because I always see mathematics and those sort of things kind of like a puzzle. Imagine yourself being home or whatever and deciding, you know what, I have nothing to do right now, I'm gonna fetch up my phone and play a little matches of Mahjong or Free Cell or Candy Crush even. And then when you get really into those games, you realize that they're not simple games of chance. There is a strategy to beat them, and further on it gets even worse, because that's when they start applying their pay-to-win mechanics. Where you run out of tries or whatever, and you have to pay money to have more tries, or you get really good at solving the puzzles and solving it within the amount of moves or whatever that they give you. So there's that. Then you know, you get really good into the game, and then you figure out how the game works and how to make the best combinations and punctuations possible, get the highest score, to make sure you don't need to buy money. But to do that, you have to solve a much harder puzzle. Eventually you do get around it, and you do solve the puzzle for all the candy. And after that, you're like, wow, this was fun, I was able to solve the puzzle. Now what about the next one? Then you keep solving puzzles and it's fun while it lasts, but eventually you get bored and you go do something else. However, if you work in physics, in electronics and other sort of stuff, programming even, it's doing calculations the entire day. And I do not think I would like to have a job like that, where all the day I'm solving puzzles, but not out of boredom and enjoyment because it's fun to solve puzzles. I would be solving puzzles because that would be my job. And I don't think it would be fun. And also, hello there, Spiker. Wolf morning to you and welcome to the stream. Or wolf afternoon to you, I guess. How are you doing today? Zach said, pay-to-win and loot boxes. Oh yeah, that's why I don't play mobile games anymore. Because you cannot theoretically play mobile games now without cashing out several hundreds of dollars. Spiker asks, how's everybody doing today? I'm doing good. I'm doing a-okay. It's very cold over here, you know, winter and all. But despite the cold, it's extremely sunny, so that's weird. We had a long week of seeing nothing but overcast skies and rain all over the place. But now it's sunny. And Zach, you're wounded yet? Okay. And Spiker said cold, really? Cold for me. But then again, I have a very low cold tolerance. So it's 13 degrees Celsius here right now. And I'm wearing 3 layers of clothes because of it. But how are you doing, Spiker? What is up with you today? Today we are here illustrating some more comic pages, and what I'm doing right now here is trying to figure out what colors to use for the interior of this car. By the way, it might not look like it, but I'm illustrating the interior of a car. According to the references Oni had sent us the other day, there's not much to it. So we're just gonna use some dark-ish gray. Not too dark though, maybe slightly a little brighter. For the bench, we're gonna use a lighter gray, but also slightly more saturated, so it looks a bit like brown, but not too much. Kind of like a cloth color. And then for the rest, we'll figure it out as we go along. And Spiker, you see, 13 degrees is easy. Well, not for me. I never had a good cold tolerance, and it got even worse when I moved to this city I'm living at right now, where it's not necessarily colder, but it's pretty much sea level, so it's very humid, the air in here, and it gets even colder, or it feels colder than the city I used to live at. And Spike, you're doing good, just roaming Twitch and playing some WoW. Oh, that's nuts. I've been pondering and wondering about it. I saw you streaming some WoW yesterday. I think it was yesterday. And I've been wondering about that. How's the new expansion and stuff? Because I would imagine that for someone who plays a lot, or for someone who has played a lot of World of Warcraft, or at least have been playing for at least a couple of years, maybe a little bit more, but for a person who has been playing World of Warcraft for a long time, they have probably seen it all already. They have been all over the place, they have seen all the things there is to see, they have inherently consumed all of the content the game offers you. So there is nothing else to it, I wouldn't think. Nothing new to do, nothing cool going on. So the whole thing about the expansions is adding new end game content. No wonder what's up with the end game content for this new expansion shenanigan that they have going on right now. And also, Oni said that yes, you are Ryodosh. Do you wanna go skateboards? What do you mean, Oni? I don't do skateboards. I decided to quit doing all sorts of radical sports. an extreme canine sports since that little mishap from the previous week, and where I tried foolishly to do some sweet tricks with my bike. Well, not necessarily my bike. Where I tried to do some sweet tricks with a rented bike on a skateboard park, going down a bowl and failing to land, mostly because it was a rainy day and the whole place was super wet, and I ended up going to the floor and well, ever since that little incident, I've decided to abdicate this life of being a radical doggo. So I'm not gonna be joining you cool kids in your skateboarding parties. But no less, feel free to go skateboarding by yourself, Oni. I'm sure you're gonna have a jolly time, especially if you have some sort of early 2000s rock songs playing along to it. And Spike, you said new expansion is as addicting as always. 13 years and counting that game. Wow, really? Has it been going on for that long? It released in 2004. So the game has been out for 14 years and you have been playing for 13. Is that the way of it? Because if that is so, Spiker, then wow, you're a really dedicated fan or player, whichever word you would rather use. And secondly, you're probably much older than I initially thought you were. Perhaps. And Zach says here there is no winter, just cold rain. What do you mean by that, Zach? Because theoretically here there's not a whole lot of difference from winter time to any other sort of time. The difference is precisely that you know, during summer it's extremely sunny here, and in winter it's not as sunny and colder in general. But there's no big differences there. It doesn't snows, roads and places don't close down because of it. So is that sort of difference really? Is that sort of no winter kind of scenario you're talking about, or is something more specific? Something perhaps more radical. Oh shit. What we're doing here now is painting the glass of the car, which as you can see is completely wonky because I foolishly decided not to use a ruler to draw this. So it's all over the place, but don't pay attention to that. And then by using our cool doggo tricks, we can make it look slightly better. What we're gonna be doing with it is lower the opacity of this layer, that's so it blends, but not necessarily as it would blend if I were to use the the layer multiply or overlay or those sort of layer effects, it'll blend just because it will become see-through. So say if I put it at 40% opacity, whatever is behind this layer you can see. So this is one of the cheapest ways in art, in digital art, to make any sort of glass surface, and dog damn if it doesn't work. It works extremely well, hence why everybody still does it. Which kinda makes me feel a little bit bad for the people who you know, who do people with glass or try to illustrate glass surfaces, but they do that in painting and traditional painting on paper. I mean, how in the world does that do these persons find out the color they need to mix to get the actual color through glass? That must suck for those poor bastards. But anyway, Ragipu, you said you think it was a cow, not Doge. Huh. And Spiker said, wow, released in Europe in 2005. Oh yeah, I probably had a little delay. And yes, played ever since, and yes, you are much older than you thought you were. Okay. I love it when you keep all the things we are saying this vague. Never really said how old I think you are, but we are already both agreeing that you're older than what I thought you were. But I'm just using a lot of assumptions here, because if we try to think about it, World of Warcraft was released in 2005, and ever since it released it had monthly subscriptions. So you gotta think, who back in 2005 was able to pay monthly subscriptions for it? It was probably someone who either had a lot of, you know, who had some sort of good allowance, or somebody who could pay it due to working.
It's good to try and change my mind about it.
You're all cooked to what? Only don't eat raw food. It tastes much worse, and you know it's not good for you. Don't eat raw food, especially if you're cookie dough, because what am I doing? This thing should be painted over as well, because if there goes a lot of ferment in that, or however you guys call it in English, and I think you call it yeast. But anyway, that's not something you wanna eat raw, so don't do that. Only don't do that. Anyway, Zach is sad. Philippines tropics, no winter, spring or autumn, just summer and rain. Oh, you poor little thing. And Spiker, you said that I once called you a young woofer streamer, and you were like, I will take that compliment, and I will pocket, and I'll treasure it. Yeah, I have actually no idea how old or how young you are or you claim to be, and I'm fine with that. I'm actually very fine with that. But yeah, like I was saying, assuming a lot of things such as what sort of persons would be able to pay World of Warcraft monthly fee for, well, ever since the game released back in 2005, especially because I think it was one of the first few games to have that sort of stuff going on. Wow, with that I can start to assume a lot of things about your age. Or not. Nonetheless, back in 2004 I was a wee young doggo doing... What was I doing in 2005? I think I was having... Back in 2005 I was having a falling out with a friend of mine. No, never mind, I was not yet having a falling out with a friend of mine. That was years later. Oh well, then I have no earthly idea what I was doing in 2005. I guess I was just chilling and doing whatever. Probably not even drawing yet. Or at least not drawing to the level that I draw today, which is something more calculated and thought out. I was probably just throwing random lines and thinking, this whole Dragon Ball thing looks cool, so let's illustrate that. Okay, so now we have the glass. Let's throw it at 40% opacity. And theoretically this is the color for the car. I cannot at all bother to go any more complicated with the color scheme for this car, especially because now it's time for you know, to throw in the shading on these characters. I didn't really get to decide what sort of environment they're in yet. All we know is that they're driving through... Oh, they're driving. And in page 14, if we look back at it, they're leaving near sunset. And the idea here, for the shading at least, is that I used these colors here. Are those the colors I use? Well then, I used a dark and yet saturated orange-ish color for the shade itself, but for the light I used a very bright but desaturated orange. It kinda looks yellow, but it's more towards the orange than it is towards the yellow. So let's use those same colors over here for the shading. And then perhaps get a little bit creative with the way they're being shaded. I would say that since it's sunset, the sun is hitting them from the side, but now I get to decide which character is going to be hit by the sun first. So if the sun is heading towards this side here, then we're gonna illuminate all of Nathan, but just a little bit here and there of Wallace. Same thing here. It's mostly gonna be some backlit kind of lighting, and here we're gonna have some other color, which I think works best in this context here, because this is the orientation of this page, and I want people who are reading this page to pay attention here on the left side first. So I think it should be brighter, but maybe the Maybe the right side here should not be as dark, because I feel like it's gonna make it incredibly hard for people to understand what's going on. So what I'm gonna do is get a blue tint to do the shading in these characters. So hopefully that'll work. What else have you guys been saying? Oh, hello there, Spiker. Who asked, did you mute yourself? And guess what? You were super duper right, Spiker. I did mute myself. For I am a silly boy. Very, very silly boy. Thanks for the heads up, though. But what was I saying? I said a lot of things. First of all, Oni, I thanked you for your cheer. This one and the previous one. In case that was missed. And I was talking a little bit about other things. And Spiker, you know how to recognize a mute when you don't hear one. Oh, Spiker. But yeah, thanks for the heads up. If it were not for you, I would keep talking about penises and the such to nobody. And I can talk it to you guys. What I was saying is that there is this furry artist, Mesh, some of you may know him, who does he does a lot of furry comics, all of which are very lewd in nature. And while most people are fawning over the subject of the comic and his stories, I'm really fawning over his art style because it's dang damn delicious. He does not shies away from using multiple shades when doing the shading for his comics. I only use two, which is this darker color that I'm using and this brighter color here. So I do a true shade sort of shading. He, though, goes, sometimes he uses a third and sometimes he uses a fourth shade. So he creates really complex and really interesting coloring schemes for his porn comics. That's really cool. Because I've been looking at some at his latest comic. I don't remember its name. I think it's Liquid Courage or something. And the way he shades it, it's so awesome. I really want to study it. But the problem about studying coloring from a comic that is already done is that it's near impossible. Because it's more about experimentation than theory than actual knowledge. You know, something you can simply look at and say, they're using and doing this. Something that you have no idea how they're doing until you go and try to do yourself. Because if you see a comic that is already done and you try to use the eyedrop to copy the colors, you're not gonna get the raw colors they use there. You're gonna get a version of the color that is already completely changed by these multiply layers, these shading layers, and all these other layers that are affecting and changing the color on the fly. So, for you to pick a color from a comic, you have to reverse engineer it. You have to think what sort of effects are being thrown into said color. Then you have to think what sort of effects are being thrown into the color, and then work your way back from the shaded color into the raw color. So that kind of stuff takes a while to figure out. It's not easy. Hence why I didn't try to do that yet. besides, I don't know which I would be judged harder for looking way too long at furry porn or for studying color theory through furry porn. Who knows? Anyway, Spiker said, "Hooray, penises!" Oh, you betcha. This comic specifically was about a lot of penises. Because sometimes when the planets align, MASH goes and decide to do a straight comic instead of doing gay comics. But this one was a gay comic, so there was just penises. And only said, "Did someone say penises?" I did. Lots of times. And Aragi Poo says, "How to get attention of viewers?" Oh yeah, you do that thing I said. And only you use 15 layers of colors. You don't need that much. And it's so terrible. How to summon Chandler you bring out stale memes? We don't have stale memes, or do we? I don't think we did, we ran out of them. And then you said the amount of cheer is the amount of GBP you get. Wicked. Yeah. Speaking of which, that's a nice, awesome segue for me to speak a little bit about this. So, every single one of you, simply by being here on the stream, you're getting our awesome currency called the Good Boy Pounds, or GBP for short. You get it simply for being here and watching the stream, so don't worry too much about earning it. The things you can do with the GBP includes that if you are a subwoofer or a patron or a financial supporter, you can request songs for the measly amount of, I think it's 2 GBP per song. And the other thing you can do, you don't need to be a subwoofer for this, or a patron or whatever, is you can exchange your subwoof, I mean your GBP for a sketch that I'll do for free during one of my random art streams. If you can get 4,000 Good Boy Pounds, you can exchange those 4,000 Good Boy Pounds for a free sketch that I'll be doing for you, because you guys are awesome and you deserve cool things. Although, as you probably noticed and realized, one does not come across 4,000 GBP that easily and that fast. And one of the ways you can get more GBP is by cheering with bits or donating money through the Streamlabs extension down below. There's a gigantic donate button down below. If you donate money through either of those means, you do get them delicious GBP, which makes it faster for you to get those delicious 4,000 GBP to exchange for drawings. So it works in a way that if you were to cheer with bits, or if you were to cheer with bits or donate money through Streamlabs to get 4,000 Good Boy Pounds, you would need to donate roughly $40, which is extremely overpriced for a sketch. But yeah, you can either go through the motions of giving me $40 for a sketch, or you can simply hang around, watch the streams, and eventually you will save up that amount of money. I think of make-believe currency. And Aragipu, you say that it's a weird name for Dogecoin. It's because it's not Dogecoin. Dogecoin is an actual cryptocurrency, whereas GBP is a make-believe currency. So it's different. And Spiker, you said, what about them sexy subs though? Do they earn GBP? Yeah, if you become a subwoofer, you get GBP, and I'm for the subwoofer itself. And not only that, but little do you guys know, those of you who are in the know, possibly in the know, the idea is that you get one GBP per each 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So in an hour you get actually I don't know how much it is per minute or per hour, but anyway, no matter how much it is that you're getting, subwoofers get double, so they get more GBP per minute, per hour. So if you are a subwoofer, you do get more GBP, and you get extra GBP for subwoofing. So there's all sorts of incentives for becoming a subwoofer. And also, Spiker, you said overpriced for a sketch. Sounds sketchy. It doesn't at all, because as you can see, it is in sketch, because you cannot tell me that my art is not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the price of my art is really subjective, and you cannot tell me which is right and which is wrong. So in the way of pricing, so it's not sketchy, it's just an arbitrary value assigned to art, because art is subjective. So there you go, I can charge as much as I want, and it's not sketchy at all. It is, however, a sketch, but it's not a sketchy sketch, it's a sketch. You get it, you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. You're a smart boy, I'm sure you can figure it out. And also, hello there, Leo. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today, in this lovely Tuesday morning that we are having? Or that at least I am having. You're probably having an even earlier morning. Well, there we go. This looks like a very convincing sunset sort of color for Nathan. Now I'm gonna try and see if I can throw in some of that blue floodlight, backlight, I forget the term, on the other side here. One thing I really don't like about these floodlights though, that a lot of times they don't work out, and they give you the characters have too much of a bluish tint, especially on Nathan. Poor young Nathan gets super blue when I start applying this thing here. I'm gonna use a brighter and less saturated blue to do this thing here. And also, Oni, thanks again for those delicious bits. You said a lot of things. You said you ate too much breakfast, now your stomach hurts. So puke some of it out. That should work a problem. And Leo, you said kill me please. Why, Leo? What happened? And Spiker, why so much canine violence here? You didn't state how exactly, you just went for something creative. Oh, Spiker. That's not how you should do things. But anyway, we're gonna take a dog walk and you'll be right back. Sure thing. Ooh. In the meanwhile, while you are gone, we're gonna be here solving the murder of Leo. Our good boy Leo, who has now been murderized by someone who is no longer present. Leo, great, now you're going to die slowly and even more painfully. And nothing yet, though you fear what is going to happen. And what is going to happen, if you don't mind me asking, Leo? Hopefully nothing too bad. Because we all know there's already too many bad things going on currently. Is this the color I use? No, it was not the color I used. By the way, you meme kids ought to explain to me a new meme that has been surfacing. That I cannot wrap my head around. The idea of this meme is when people suddenly turn their heads around very fast, sometimes due to reacting to some comment or some happenstance that occurred in front of them. What people are doing is getting the video of these people doing this quick head turn, and they're doing a dramatic camera zoom towards their eyes and throwing a bright red laser effect on their eyes, as if there was some sort of seeker power mode that activated in this person's vision or something. I'm not sure on what this whole meme is, but I find it extremely funny, and I would like to know more about this new fad that is this. So does anybody even knows what I'm talking about? Leo, you are not dead yet. And then you said it was Dio who stabbed Leo. And Leo said the slight possibility that you could go for jail for where you work one day. And overreaction memes come and go. But I like those overreaction memes. But what happened, Leo, for them to be wanting to arrest you? I mean, how even? What sort of unluckiness befell you that this has to be your life now? Where you where things seems to work out for you in very negative ways. Also, what song is this? Power Wolf. Oh my. I thought we were gonna only be requesting weeb music, but apparently not. Apparently we are requesting all sorts of musics today, which I super duper approve of. Aragi Poo says, is there a way to see the song queue? I don't know. I do not think there is. And also, I think I tried to request a song earlier, but I forgot to mention that the song request is only for subwoofers and patrons. But let me take a quick look at it. There probably is a way to get to see the song with. I mean, I see a lot of other streams that have it, but I don't know how that works. But anyway, there's no other songs in the queue. This is the last one. It's this song by Powerwolf, and then we're gonna go back to the Persona dancing sound music. I don't know about this whole CD playlisting. I'm gonna have to look it up some other day, and then I'll hit you back with answers about on that. Leo, so if you poof again for a long time, that's where you are. Oh no. Well, hopefully you won't poof. You won't go anywhere. That is my hope. But if it does, if it does eventually happens, I hope you don't poof for too long. And Aragi Poo says the party isn't very talkative. Yeah, the good boy bot, he is very... He has a mind of his own. He does whatever, whenever. He's really a weird little thing. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and if he wants even. So perhaps we're gonna have to go and change the good boy bot for the diligent boy bot that does things. And now that I think about it, I guess that in a way David Cage really got to us. That sick bastard, he got to us. Because now every single time I think about how we're putting Good Boy Bot here to fulfill our stream needs and do things for us. I keep thinking about Detroit Become Human and how this whole thing with the robots is going on. I keep thinking sometimes maybe we're abusing a little bit of the good boy bot, telling him to do things, and when he doesn't does things, we call him lazy boy or bad boy or all sorts of names, and it's not his fault, the poor little thing. It's just a fault in his programming. or in the internet connection. It could even be a host of other problems that makes his job harder. Yeah, we go and give him shit for that. The poor little thing. But anyway, Zach says, "Hey guys, the guy who got the role of Rotten Robbie in Lazy Town passed away. Who is Rotten Robbie? I don't know." But I saw that news somewhere. I think on Reddit or Twitter or 9gag, one of those many places. But what is up with that? I do remember a while ago a lot of people going through the internet and talking about how about the guy, I guess the main villain of Lazy Town, the guy who leads the singing of the "We Are Number One." Now that guy had also passed away of cancer. The last year or a year prior. And apparently now another guy has passed away. So what is it with Lazy Town that makes its people pass away under very, very quick and mysterious circumstances? And Chandler says, "Nani, what does the title say? You can't read the full thing on mobile." The title of the stream, it says Tuesday Art Stream, but it's actually fun. Then we have some commands you guys can try, which is !Discord, !SR for song request, but only for subwoofers and patrons, !Kibble, and !Lurk. Those are the commands. And also, welcome to the stream, Chandler. How are you doing today? And Chandler, you said, "Lamaldon, you're so funny." Well, I'm glad you think so, but I disagree. And Zach says the "We Are Number One" guy. But yeah, I thought he had already passed away, hadn't he? If I am not mistaken, either he had passed away or he was battling cancer for like the last so many years, I think. Anyway, Leo says Lazy Town is cancerous. And Chandler Tricolor apparently says, "You're good, man, trying to decide what to do with your future. Maybe now's the time for you to go and seek that delicious Spanish passport. That's so you can go to Spain." So I guess one of the first things you gotta do is learn more Spanish. So you can begin with very, very simple things, such as saying hello. We all know how hello in Spanish goes. It's kind of like the common hello, but start with an H. Except that instead of saying hello, we say hola, or rather hola. With a little pitch up on the end. Hola. Because if I am not mistaken, there's an accent. Or no, maybe I'm confusing it. But anyway, You can also always learn the Spanish word for you, which is usted, if I am not mistaken. By the way, I have no idea what I'm talking because I don't know Spanish at all. Whoever thought I was going on to something here has been fooled. You guys have been fooled because I don't know Spanish. And Chandler, he survived the cancer scare a few months ago, but his cancer came back with a vengeance. Oh man. Poor Rotten Robbie. Rotten. Oh, poor Lazy Town villain guy. And also, Chandler, you have been studying Spanish for over 5 years. You will be fine, even if your speaking sucks. It's time to start speaking Spanish with us. So, I don't know Spanish, but I'll try and do my best to keep up with you. If you throw me some Spanish lingo, I know, and we'll get it going. So we can always say thing like, I don't know any words for like common things, because I wanted to say me gusta to something, but I don't know anything else I can say that I like about you, or a thing you own that I like, or a thing you have. So anyway, never mind, I guess we're not learning Spanish after all. And Leo said you have to get off this god-forsaken sandbar. Sandbar? What do you mean? What is that even? I don't know. And Wojtko Studio says that's correct. Just pronounced usted, not usted. Usted. I don't know. I'm juggling several languages at once here. It's hard. But nonetheless, welcome to the stream, Wojtko Studios. How are you doing today? Or even yesterday? How has your week been, is what I mean to say. It's been a long week after all. And also, thank you so very much for that delicious follow, and welcome to our Canine pack. Hope you like it here. And Leo, you said this is a state of salt and sand. I mean, you're not exactly stable situation at which you find yourself in. Wait. Okay. I can't throw in a whole lot of shading through high areas because as expected, because the sun is setting and they're inside a dog-damned car. There's only so much areas the sun can reach of these characters here. And Wojtko Studio says, don't be sorry, you're learning. I am not learning. As it happens, I am not trying to learn Spanish. I just know quite a lot of similarities between Spanish and Portuguese, which is the language that I know, because it's the language I speak. And through the similarities, I can pretend I know a thing or two or 10 about it. Nonetheless, You also said you're good, doing well, thanks. Yesterday too, good week overall. Oh, that's awesome. And Chandler, you said grammar me harder. And Goodboybot says you're a Goodboybot and your programming has been spell checked for grammar mistakes. That it has. And Voidco says, what program are you using? For coloring right now, for the entire process of doing comics, I'm using Clip Studio Paint. It's a delicious illustration program that I very much like. And Oni says, mis pecados nunca se van a perdonar. Why is that, Oni? I thought you were only gonna be doing these safe for work scenes, and those are pretty forgivable as it happens. And Leo says, i.e. the Peninsula of Hell, i.e. Hell's waiting room. What? Are you meaning to say, Leo, that you are in a beach area, such as on the coast? Also, I have just come up with new ideas for mugs, as in mugs which you can fill with coffee or any other sort of beverage your sick heart desires. So how about we do mugs that say, with a picture of me saying "Woof morning," or even a mug with a picture of me saying "Dog damn it," or "Dog dash damn it," or something of the sort. I think it would be cool. Leo, you said i.e. Florida, USA. Huh. One thing I ponder and wonder and ponder even harder about that is that a lot of people seem to be very concerning Florida, and yet and people don't seem to have very warm, fuzzy feelings for Florida, and yet it's a beach state. It's a state on the coast. There's beach all over the place. There's Disneyland in there even, and every I want to say every other week. That may be too infrequent, but every now and then your local superhero, the Florida Man, makes the news with some of his their mishaps and shenanigans. Maybe not every other week, but frequently enough, Florida Man is doing something. So with that, I wonder why all the hate towards Florida. Besides, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know what's the etymology for the word Florida is, but if the Latin root is the same, it means something along the lines of flower or flourished or flowery. And there you have it. A nice, well shaded Wallace boy doing everybody a harden. Now to do the same thing on this next panel down below here. And Chandler said with all the alligators. Leo says if only Oni, although I think I mean Chandler. Then you'd be feeding them old people and red rather. And Tiger says now would that be abuse of the alligators? Perhaps it would. The gator, says Chandler. All those gators. Voidco says it was a Spanish colony first. And then you say that it looks amazing. Well, thank you. And as for it being a Spanish colony, Leo has has it all covered. Redwire Dogo, says Leo. Image results for Florida name meaning Florida was named by explorer Ponce de Leon in 1513. The name Florida comes from the Spanish word florido, which means full of flowers or flowery. But then nobody ever bothered to change it. They decided, Florida it is. No wonder the English language is all over the place. Then you stop to think about how many colonies they had with Spanish speaking people and Spanish words, and then they're like, okay, let's integrate these words into our vocabulary and add our own accent into that. And then you have a lot of confused people having a hard time trying to speak said words. And also, Chandler says, Daddy, boof. And Oni said, what happens if your heart stops going doki doki? Are you gonna die? Possibly, yeah, Oni. It would not be good if your heart stopped going doki doki. It would be good if your heart kept going doki doki for quite some time. However, as I have read on the internet, it might not be true, but it might be true. If your heart were to stop going doki doki, that means you're going through cardiac arrest. Or however you say that in weeb language. And if you're going through cardiac arrest, you're gonna feel a gigantically strong chest pain. And you're gonna realize that you're going through cardiac arrest, and the one thing you have to do in case you're alone and nowhere near help is coughing. You force yourself to cough, and by doing that you really try put all your strength and your might into coughing as much as you can, because that kind of kickstarts your heart, your kokoro, to go doki doki a little bit longer. And you keep coughing, and in the meantime try to find help. Try to get somebody to take you to a hospital or whatnot. I have read that a long time ago. I have no idea if that is real or not, but if your heart stops going doki doki, there's a chance you're not gonna make it back, so might as well go with a style and ruin your vocal cords and your throat by coughing all over the way. Who knows, maybe it will save you. Maybe the internet people were right about that. Nonetheless, do make sure to have a balanced diet and do physical exercise constantly and regularly to make sure your heart stays in top shape, that so it doesn't stop going doki doki randomly. And Voidco Studios says not to mention all the French words they stole, such as ketchup and bastard. And Spiker says all dogs go to heaven though. That they do. And Leo says Vermont used to be Vermont, meaning green mountain, though now Vermont means vermi mountain, possibly. That makes sense. Vert probably means green. It reads similarly to how the Portuguese word green reads. And for mount, well, that's no mystery. That's a no-brainer. Yeah, possibly, yeah. All of the most eastern-ish coast cities were named some weird sort of shenanigans due to, you know, being colonized by Spanish or the other people. Who came first? And also, welcome back, Spiker. How was your canine outing and walking? And what is this exercise? Exercise is theoretically the thing you are supposed to do if you want to A. Live a healthy life, B. Stay in shape, C. Keep your heart from stop going doki doki, and possibly sometimes D. See the sights, because as it happens, there's a gigantic amount of things you cannot see if you are in your home. Such as poor people, hobos and beggars cannot see from the comfort of your home. People with all sorts of crazy sickness and diseases, you cannot also see, you know, possibly your local version of the Florida Man. So that's the things you should be doing exercise for. Well, not necessarily exercise, but some sort of outdoors activity. Chandler says whisper those synonyms into your ear. And Spiker says dog pooped, dog peed, worked at other dogs, dog life for life. Oh, dog life for life it is indeed. The best kind of life is a doggo life. Except when the dogs are doing a hacking bamboozle or doing a frighten, and it might not be an extremely good doggo life. But there's always those delicious 95% of chances that it is being a very good doggo life, and then everything is a-okay. And Spiker said that when you look in the mirror you see a poor person and a hobo though. So, well, would you look at that? You're a lucky person who do not need to go outside and exercise. You can see the varieties of the world from the comfort of your own home, or or not necessarily your home, but wherever it is that you find this mirror you're looking through. Who knows? And also, Chandler says, goodbye everyone. Gonna start your day AF. Sure thing, Chandler. I would like to thank you very much for being here with us and brightening our day as much as you have throughout these couple of hours into the earlier hours of the stream. And I would like to wish you a very good, I would say canine, or rather a doglishly good day, but as it happens, I don't know if you wish to have a doglishly good day or other sort of good days, so I won't wish those upon you. I will wish just that you have a good day of whatever sort you wish to have. And I'll be seeing you later. Stay awesome, take care, and thanks for hanging out with us. You will be missed. And as for the rest of us, I am going to explain a little bit further about this shading thing I'm doing here. I have already explained a little bit, but the entire idea for having this second sort of shading here, because as you can see we have this very bright shading, alright, the lightning that is coming from the left side, and here on the right side we have this softer, not as bright shading going on. And what is up with it, you might ask? And then I'll tell you, my little inquisitive friend. Physics is extremely wonky and weird, and although it does exist, and it is interesting to pay a little attention to it, because what happens when any surface is being illuminated by a very strong light source is that it will get illuminated, such as is happening with the left side of the characters. But if you were to pay attention to it, the inside of the car would also be getting illuminated. And what happens with a lot of surfaces when they get illuminated is that they bounce off some of this light into other surfaces nearby. So what is happening here is that this softer shading that is going on the characters is the bounce light that is getting reflected off the interior of the car. But because it is also it is the same light source as the other color, we're not gonna change the hue of it. It's still going to be a yellowish sort of color. It kind of doesn't look too very yellowish because I desaturated it and applied a little bit of darkened it and desaturated it, so it looks kind of grayish, bluish, but it's still very yellow. And this is a bounce light. We could also go and add a backlight if we had some other lightning source on the scene that is giving off another sort of light that is not as strong as our main source of light, which is the sun. But the problem with it is that, you know, you would have to go through various lengths to make sure that this new light is the color is balanced with all the other colors that we are already juggling, and it's incredibly easy to fuck that up really hard if you do not know what you're doing. Hence why I would rather not do that at all, because I am widely known for fucking up severely when it comes to this sort of things. So instead we're just gonna do it like this. The strong light from the left side, and on the right side some bounce light that is bouncing off other surfaces, but no backlight because I don't want to deal with that. But that's one of the many reasons why people are going all over the place with overlay layers, because I'm using a multiplier layer, and the problem with the multiplier layer is that it only allows you to darken the colors you already have in place. An overlay layer allows you to brighten up some certain colors too, so you can do all sorts of crazy mixtures with color theory, and people get really moist when you start using overlay layers to do the shading and the lighting. Anoni has obtained the facade to overcome life's hardship and blah blah blah. Okay, fine, I guess you do want that to kidnap you and keep you as a dog. Oh, then Oni. That might will happen someday if you wish it hard enough. And also, Zach says that you're back from a sudden AFK. Welcome back, Zach. How was your AFK? Hopefully it was good in whichever way you did go. Zach said you still got your safety glove on, so someone else had to cook dinner. Oh, I see. Makes sense. One cannot cook dinner after they have been severely injured and almost lost half their hand due to a cooking accident. But nonetheless, welcome back, Zach. So how does it work? Do the other people in your house are as good as cooking as you? Can they make nice, cool, interesting recipes, or family recipes and whatnot, or do they do, or is everybody in your family kind of like have learned a thing or two or 10 about cooking just by watching you do and hearing about your daily exploits in the kitchen warfare that is life? Leo, you get moist for the redneck doggo. I know you said that your knife bamboozled you. What do you mean, Oni? What has it done to you? I'm glad that Persona 3 got a dancing game, because I had forgotten how awesome the Persona 3 soundtrack is. I never got too much into the Persona 3 soundtrack because I had never played Persona 3 until much later, after I played Persona 4. Because the story goes as follows. Back in the 2008-2009, when I had joined the fandom, a lot of people, and by a lot I mean a shitload of amount of people, were talking about Persona and how awesome it still is. So I thought, you know what, maybe I should go and give it a look. And people were talking about how in Persona 3 there's this character, playable character, that is a doggo. So I thought, well, let's go and get that. Then I went through, acquired the game through very dubious means. However, I could not find Persona 3. I found Persona 4 because coincidentally it had just released. Then I got Persona 4 and started playing it and never put the game down again until I was done with it. A couple months later. Then I finished Persona 4 and I thought, holy shit, this game was awesome. How about Persona 3? Then I came across Persona 3 using the same means as before, and then I found, to my dismayment, that Persona 3 gameplay was inferior to Persona 4 because, you know, a lot of things changed in between games. But I thought, well, that's only gonna make the game more interesting to play. And I decided, you know what, let's start playing. And then I did start playing. But then my PlayStation 2 decided to go out on me because we have had it for many years and it never had seen repair before, so we decided to stop working. So we retired our PlayStation 2 entertainment system. But I never really got to finish playing Persona 3. So only years later when they released the Persona 3 Portable on the PSP and I came across a PSP to play it, that I was able to play the Persona 3 story. And the PSP Persona 3 Portable version is considerably easier because, you know, now that you can control your teammates, battle became much easier. And then I finally got to play the game and listen to its delicious soundtrack and yada yada yada. But that was all the way in 2011, whereas I played Persona 4 in 2008, the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, the December, January summer vacation was when I got to play it. And Oni, it said nasty things to you and robbed you. Oh no, that mischievous knife. I'm sorry, Oni. And Zach said that mom is a better cook than dad. Sis is a graduate of a culinary school different from yours, but she's at overseas now. Your relatives, that include aunts, uncles and cousins, not quite the good chefs. Oh no. Well, look on the bright side, at least you have... At least your family knows a lot about cooking. And also, the Wolf Smiling says, good morning, Doug, how are you in this Tuesday morning with lots of sun? I'm doing good. In fact, I'm more than good. I'm scared. Because how in the world do you know it's that sunny? Is it sunny over there too? Or did you just guess? Or do you live only 3 blocks away from me all this time and we had no idea? What is your secrets? But nonetheless, welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Nonetheless, like I said, all the way back in 2013, I finally got around to playing Persona 3, which was awesome. And after playing Persona 3 in 2011, I was really hyped for Catherine. Because I don't know if you guys are in the know, but Catherine was teased in Persona 3. In Persona 3 there was a bar you could go for some reason, and in that bar there was a man drinking alone. A character that showed up in there. And this character happened to be no one less than Vincent from Catherine, and he teased, and when you approach him, he will randomly tell you that he heard these stories about people who were dreaming of climbing a tower, and there was this rumor that if people died in the dream, they died in real life, and that he was worried because he cheated on his girlfriend or whatever. But then, after you exhausted all his dialogue after several days, he would say something along the lines of, but this has nothing to do with your problems, and that was in all red, bold text. So you thought, oh, okay, this is an important text, I guess, but you could never interact with him further. So you were discouraged from paying that too much mind, and then I thought, huh, how weird. And then in 2011 there started coming up a lot of trailers and whatnot for Catherine, and later that year they released the game, and I was like, oh shit, and then I got to play it and finish it, and I thought, well then, this happened. And then Atlas teased about Persona 5, and we've been waiting ever since 2012 for that game to come out. And Wolf Smiling said that you also live in Porto Alegre. Holy shit, how about that? But you're gonna move to Alvorada with your brother. I have no idea where that city is, but that's cool. Oh, this was one of the coolest songs in the Persona 3 soundtrack. Oh man, oh Oni, you're gonna make me wanna go back and re-listen to the entirety of the Persona 3 soundtrack. Those were the good days when I was playing World of Warcraft alone and listening to the Persona 4 and 3 soundtrack until it ended. And then I looked up the clock and it was 1 or 2 in the morning, and I thought, well, time to go to bed. And Oni says Catherine made you smart as quick solving climb puzzles. What? But yeah, Catherine is a very ridiculously hard puzzle game. One game I wish I could replay.
Dare you, bro.
Oh no, Oni, oh no, you didn't. You did not just challenge me to queue up the entirety of Persona 3 playlist to play. I would, but I shall not, because I would like to allow the subwoofers to request songs if they would like. Instead of queuing up a gigantic Persona playlist or force people to hear to it. But I've got my eyes on you. I think one of the coolest things true was back when Persona was bigger. A lot of people on the YouTubes were doing this misheard lyrics for the game songs. Like, oh, I think they're saying this and that, based on how what people were being able to make out from the lyrics. So if you know what California Potato Powers is, man, you're gonna skyrocket up in my cool bro list. If you do not know what California Potato Power is, then you've got some studying to do, scrub. And only I will not fight you. I have stuff to do. I have to finish up these comics. I normally say that shading these comics is extremely easy and fast, but this time around it isn't. But anyway, we're near done with shading this page here. Then we can go right next to the previous page, shade that one too. And after both pages are shaded, all that will be left to do is the backgrounds. And after doing the backgrounds, things will be better. Because we will be closer to being done with these pages. And you know what they say about being done. In case you do not know what they say about being done, I recommend that you guys give it a look. Because they say a lot of things about a lot of other subjects. But anyway, how are you guys doing today? So far. We've been streaming for 2 hours. There's 2 more hours of streaming ahead of us. So you guys better be ready for that, because it's coming. Along the myriad of subjects we could or not talk about, the subject I want to bring to attention is the subject of Monster Hunter World, which I have been playing endlessly this past couple of weeks. It came to my attention that by looking the statistics whenever you're trying to load up a game. But I have been playing Monster Hunter World, or rather Poacher League 2018, for around 60 hours, and that's a ludicrously high amount of hours to have put into a game over the course of 2 weeks. And what can I say? I really like that game. I have been wanting to play it more and more and more, because despite everything, the grind is real. However, as far as monster hunting go, or rather creature poaching goes, I'm I'm a extreme scrub pleb as far as it goes. Because I've only been using one weapon the entire game, which is a charge blade, and then have been using the most default version of it, which is the first version of it. I have been upgrading it, but it has no element, it has nothing going on with it. It's very basic. It has no flair, no flavor, no nothing special to it. But it does the job. Perhaps not as fast or as good as I could be doing the job if I were to be using the flavored versions. But I like it. But I have been thinking, maybe it's time I broaden up my horizons. So what I'm gonna be doing. So what I am going to be doing is trying out a new weapon set. From what I have been seeing, all of them look extremely, they all feel extremely different. And now all of them have weird gimmicks that you need to learn if you wanna do good in it. And Oni, you like Castle of Vania, because it teaches you to whip your demons away. Oh, that works too. And the Wolf Smiley says, clearly you with sword and shield. And Zach says, use the insect glaive, Doug. I would do no such thing. I tried using the insect glaive. I mean, I didn't try using it. I did try it out on the training area, and I said, holy shit. This weapon is dope, it's cool, I like it so very much. However, I do not like having to use your insect to do whatever you do with the little insect. So if there was a version of the insect glaive that didn't have the insect, it was just a glaive or a spear sort of weapon, I would be all over the place with it. But the insect mechanic really throws me off and makes me go, eh. So I've been thinking what other weapons I could use, and I thought maybe I should go for the hunting horn. From what I have seen, it looks deliciously awesome. And apparently the hunting horn gives you so many powerful buffs and attributes whenever you need, however you need, so long as you know how to use it. So from what I have seen, there is a sort of a learning curve, but once you get past that soft learning curve, you're good to go. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try and use it. The hunting horn all the way. So that's gonna be my new challenge for the next few, well, I would say next few days. But that doesn't work because, like I said, I'm gonna be traveling and I will be away from my computer, which means there's no gaming for me the for the next week. But when I get back, I will play the shit out of the hunting horn and I'll learn it. I'll learn it and I'll exploit it all the way up to high heavens. And also, Leo, you've gone quiet. Was that the poof you were talking about? I hope it wasn't. If it was, though, R.I.P. I guess. And all you say is smack that bug away. No, seriously, another player can smack it away. By the way, the worst way for a monster to die is via dunk bomb. And Zach says then use the dual swords. And says no dual blades is irritating you. Werewolf in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And Zach says, or use the bow. I would not use. I don't want to use the bow because I'm playing with my boyfriend and he is using the bow. And I feel like true characters using the bow would be either too OP or too bad. But it does look interesting. I gotta give it that. Although I've also been thinking about the other ranged guns, such as the light and the heavy crossbow. They both sound interesting too. But I don't really like how they have very little mobility. The heavy crossbow has very little mobility, and the light crossbow feels like more like a pea shooter than an actual gun when you're fighting those end game monsters. But anyway, Anya says that's up for grabs. And Vikuro knew you're gonna thank you later. Thought it has divine protection. I don't know what you're talking about, Anya. And the Wolfsman says it's good. The problem is when the monsters stop your music, then it's time to destroy them for killing your groove. And Leo said, "Oh no." Oh, then I'm glad you haven't been stole away by the police or whoever. I think it was super fun when Persona 5 starting coming out. People were extremely anxious for the game to come out, and then they said, okay, now we have a date, we have a final date, the game is coming and the game will be there by then. And they started throwing up trailers and whatnot for the game, and which every single passing trailer people were super duper excited about it. The first trailer, the first actual trailer we had was just more so of a teaser, which was the main character, the main protagonist. Him sitting on the train, and then he closes his eyes, and then he gets the vision of his persona flaming up and whatever, and then he wakes up, and it's still him sitting on the train going to this new city, and then the train drives away, and the Persona 5 logo shows up on the screen, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, it's here!" But because it was the only thing we had seen, everybody thought, okay, so he's a quiet character, another one, and he wears glasses, so he's gonna be even quieter, because that's the stereotype with glasses wearing characters. So people all over the internet started calling him Potter Kun, because he looked extremely like Harry Potter, and because they had the same pseudo-quiet demeanor and whatnot. And the cool thing was when people started having doing fan art of it, of the Persona 4 protagonist, you showing up and being like, hey, you're gonna like it here. This is a cool spot, and the Persona 5 protagonist being shy and being dragged along. The Persona 1 character being super emo, being like, whatever. Persona 2 character being super emo. Persona 3 character though being kinda completely exhausted, sweaty, and being like, oh no, get away while you can, they're gonna nuke your franchise for until the high heavens. And Persona 3 female character being like, at least you guys are canon, or whatever. And then everybody was like, ha ha ha, he's the new kid in the group. So everybody treated him as this shy new kid kind of character. Until the next trailer was released, which was bits and pieces of the opening, which showed the protagonist Kun being Potter Kun going crazy all over the place, skating on the highway, doing flips and jumps and tricks and whatever, and showing him being all superhero-y, like jumping around, being all cool and stuff. And then everybody was like, well then, I guess we were wrong, he's not the shy type of character anymore. And then the people started doing fan art of Yu, the character from Persona 4, giving up his Swag Master title to this new character from Persona 5. Being like, oh damn, you thought you were the shit, but now you thought you were the shit, you, with your swag and whatnot, but guess what? Here comes Potter Kun with even more swag than he thought possible until now. And it was fun. And Oni, you said you stopped being loud. Zach, you gotta go now, but already. Oh come on, one and a half hours away from the stream ending. So close, you almost made it to the end of the stream. But sure thing, Zach. You do go take care of yourself. Be careful with your cut hand, finger, and whatnot. Make sure to be more careful in the future and try not to get injured if possible. And have a nice night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed it here, and I'll see you later. And also, we'll do the thing you said, and I will try out the insect glaive when time allows me. Other than that, thanks for being here. It was lovely having you around. So the cool thing is that normally these whiskers here, the pores for the whiskers, they are normally done on the line art layer, but every now and then I forget, so I end up doing them on the highlight layer, which is the layer at which I do the whiskers and the shining the eyes that these characters have. And that is one of the many cool things about illustration, is that there's no set rules as to how to do things. You can go and do it whichever way you want, so long as it works. Okay, so the next step now is to pick up this shade layer again. Let's throw it in the swatches here, because why not? And throw that shade layer, BG car shade. So this is a shade layer, but only for the car. So it all feels connected. It feels like all the characters are sharing the same environment space. Okay. This is the layer color I wanted to use. And this is what makes me really scared, is to think that there are people who non-ironically are like, you know what, I'm gonna illustrate a comic that is all about youngins racing for fun and for kicks. I don't remember who he was, but there was a guy back in our back in my neighborhood where I grew up, who was really good at drawing cars, but he never got too far into it, and up until the point where we heard of him, because that was all he ever did. He drew cars, but he didn't know what else to do with them. So a lot of people thought like, oh no, I'm gonna go and write you a story and then you're gonna illustrate it and then we're gonna make a shitload of success, but nobody ever did write a good story, because, you know, it's all high school people and nobody knows how to write stories when they're in high school. Or at least none of us did. And Zach said that you got school tomorrow. That's why I need to go early, and I super duper understand. I do not have school tomorrow. I have chores and a travel to make. And Oni, will there be a power hour? Should you sacrifice your 1 bit or half of it? Nah, you're gonna save it for HP recovery. I don't think there will be a power hour today because now that we're close to being done with the comic, I think I can sit back and relax a little bit. Now I'm not so desperate for finishing it anymore. So no power hour today. However, I will be working on the comic outside of the stream. Like I've been saying, I noticed that doing this whole stream after the stream, it's really tiresome and exhausting, and I really do not have the mind to pull that off. So I found something out. These true bottom layers here, they're gonna have their own sort of background. It's not gonna be the characters on their seats. It's gonna be some sort of whatever kind of background. Not counting the other background that we're gonna have. And look at that. This is what the pages looks like with how the shadings that go into it. And this is it, I think. What else do I need is to throw the color for these bars and then do the windows, but that I'll do later. The glass windows. Oh, and the car door handle here as well. And Leo, you said all know of a list of comics that are all about abductions, rape, and or murder. What? What even, Leo? What are you talking about? Because you're doing me a worry right now. So for this page right here, since they're not driving yet on the same road, I'm gonna change the direction at which the light is hitting the characters. So I'm gonna do it some sort of like it's hitting them from straight ahead. And the sun is gonna be slightly higher, so it will get more of their bodies and less of their heads and faces. Because this panel here has a bigger focus on other things, so I don't feel like their heads needs to be super on focus compared to the other page. Leo, you know of a list of comics like that. And why do you know of a list of comics like that, Leo? And then you said what you could do is make the window tinted in it'll be easy. Some old cars still have their nasty faded purple tint. And yeah, I could have that, perhaps. Maybe I could do that. Maybe. Perhaps though. Maybe I'll do that. Who knows? Leo said it's a shame that they are so well done, given that they are about those things. Maybe that's why. It's precisely because they are about those things that they are well done and well known, unknown in a way. Because I mean, if they are going to be about those sort of serious subjects, starter artists would not be way too much into drawing that. And whoever is writing those comics would be interested in someone who can accurately portray those things. But anyway, let's talk about something else. Leo. Because I do not feel like that's a good subject to develop. However, when it comes to the subject of new subjects, I'm drawing blanks, not entirely sure on what you could go and talk about. Although it's already almost 3 hours into the stream, I've not noticed how fast time has passed today. Which could mean two things. When time is passing by too fast, it could mean that either you are thoroughly enjoying whatever it is that you're doing, to the point that the times go by extremely fast, or that you what was the other thing? That you are on a routine. You've been doing that so much and so often that your brain simply shuts off at certain moments. And you do everything so automated that you don't even notice anymore how automated you're doing things. Hence why it feels like it's going faster. But that's the thing I really wanted to learn how to do, is to truly learn the physics and the workings of bounce light and backlight and those more advanced painting techniques, rather coloring techniques and concepts, so I could more accurately and better illustrate those things. Oh well. Leo is sad, not true, and the one doing needs to be in the know and in control most of all of himself. I see. But anyway. now, like I said, next week I'll be going on a travel. I've said this countless times already. But now is the time I'll finally get around to dedicate all the off time I have on this travel to be reading countless books and comics people have been recommending me to go and look over. Which is cool because that's a thing I needed to do already. People keep sending me books, comics, stories and whatnot that they want me to go and read and be true. But I normally don't have time to dedicate to thoroughly reading and exploring. So it's good that now I will have some time to catch up with those. Alongside other things, such as next week, there will be not next week, but next month, there will be new games coming out, so there's a lot of new things we get. We're gonna be able to play here on the stream, so I have had this feeling that the content of the streams have been getting a little bit stale as of late, with me only doing art and the Banner Saga. Now we're gonna go back to doing those cool, interesting things that we used to do back in the day. Back in the day, as in a couple months ago. And Leo, you said cruel dumb is a bad dumb, just as careless dumb also is a bad dumb, but careful yet rough dumb is a great dumb. And Oni said, Doug, so spicy talk minute, talk about spicy things. Oh man, spicy things. Okay, alright, there's what's it called? So this one time, me and my boyfriend, we were looking over a pizza to order. As it happens, we found a cool one, a cool pizza to order. I don't remember the name of the flavor, or I don't even know if there is a English translation. So either it was margarita, if that is a pizza flavor, or it was something like mafioso, which is one of those two, is a pizza flavor that is chock full of pepper and spicy things. And well, I know I'm not a gigantic fan of pepper. Anybody who knows me will know that much. I don't do good with pepper and otherwise spicy things. Every now and then I like to try them out, mostly because I guess that in some way I'm not very. I guess that in some way I don't have a whole lot of self-love, and I think, spicy things, how about we get some of that spicy things action going on? And God damn it. So every now and then when I'm when the option is available, I do choose to have ginger on, you know, ginger tea or ginger or whatever, because it's kind of spicy and in its gingery way. And when I go to this big buffet restaurant that has a lot of variety, a food variety, every now and then they have wasabi, which I think is actually ginger, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. But it's super spicy as well. You guys know it. It's spicy. It's dangerous. It's wasabi. And whenever that's available, I also get a little bit of wasabi to throw into whatever it is that I'm eating at the moment, and get a delicious spice going on for me. But I don't know what's up with the wasabi spice and the ginger spice against the pepper spice. The pepper spice feels like I don't know what is up with it, but it just feels like evil sort of spice, because it burns and it hits you up, and it's I don't know. I just don't enjoy it very much. However, ginger, wasabi, those other spices, they have some other sort of evilness about them that it doesn't feel as bad. It's more as in they have a very strong, lasting taste and aftertaste, whereas pepper is just plain evil. Peppers in general. So yeah. When we ordered that pizza, I decided, you know what? I've been eating a lot of spicy things such as wasabi and ginger and whatnot. Maybe it's time I go back and try eating some peppery things, especially pizza peppery things. And I ate it up, and as it happens, it's winter here. So it's cold, and like I said, I have very low cold what's the word? I have very low threshold for cold. So as soon as it gets a touch too cold, I start putting up layers and layers of clothes. But this day I was just eating pepper. I mean, we were eating pizza, and then I ate one of the peppery halves of the pizza, and it hits you up instantly like crazy. And then next thing I knew, I was taking off all my layers of coats and heavier tops because of how hot it had become, simply by eating those little spices. I mean, those spicy peppers. Which reminded me of another story. This cartoonist, not necessarily a cartoonist, this illustrator who does a lot of comic books for children, kind of like our version of Archie comics. This guy once was traveling abroad to, you know, present his comics to people in conventions and whatnot. And then during the travel there or whatever, it was so damn cold that he said, well, I'm gonna freeze to death if I stay in this cold. So the solution that they found for him to stave off the cold was to drink some sort of alcoholic beverage, either vodka or scotch or something. And then he hit it up. It hit him up. So, what I mean to say is that I guess that a good solution for true cold temperatures and true cold environments is to, well, drink yourself off with all sorts of alcoholic beverages you have, because that'll hit you up. Or eat a lot of pepper, or ginger and wasabi, those spices will also heat you up. And then you'll be able to stave off the cold through that. And also Lego Art and Game. Hello there. Welcome to the stream and thanks for that delicious follow. Welcome to the canine pack as well. Hope you like it here. And why you came to the stream when somebody talking about Legos? Where are we? Only you said that people say ginger is a spice. Neil said get a bit of ginger juice in a cut and you know otherwise on it. And Oni said you had a dream that he was climbing a step ladder, then you slipped and fell and your body disassembled like a Lego person and you got mad as a dad and said stop fucking laughing and put me back together. The problem was you was missing your right hand, your dominant hand, and you woke up. Well then. That sounds like a pizza dream, Oni. That's what happens when you have pizza before going to bed. You have those kinds of dreams. And Leo said booze actually makes your body colder while making you feel warm. Is that so? I.e. more likely that you freeze to death. And Oni said that booze thins your blood. And Leo said, while not realizing that you're freezing to death. Yeah, I heard that alcohol thins your blood because just like detergent and other cleaning supplies, what alcohol does is it melts down fat cells. So there are fat cells in your bloodstream, and when alcohol gets in the bloodstream, it melts down those fat cells or something, and that's what makes your blood thinner. But other than that, I don't know why you would want your blood to be thinner. Or not, I don't know. No matter, that's a thing. And I don't know exactly what's up with that, so good luck to you who are more curious than I am and are hell-bent on finding the answer to that. But anyway, that's my spicy story, Oni. I once ordered spicy pizza. I mean, I didn't order it, we ordered it. I ordered a normal ham with cheese and eggs pizza. My boyfriend chose the spicy pizza. I had a few slices of this spicy pizza, and I ended up taking off my clothes because of how hot I was feeling due to all the spice of the pizza. Because it had peppers, and I think it didn't only had peppers, it had peppers and something else that is also spicy. Or it was like 3 or 4 varieties of peppers. I'm not sure. I think it was bell pepper, normal pepper, pepperoni, which is a peppery sort of sausage, and something else. No, wait, bell pepper is not the thing I'm thinking of. Oh man, am I going to have to look this up? God damn it, I'm gonna have to look it up. Oh, there's this thing here. It's, what is it called? Eggplant. Yeah, I think there was some boiled eggplant or something. Not entirely sure what was up with it, but there was eggplant in it, and it felt spicy for some reason. I guess that they marinated it in some sort of spicy sauce. I threw it up there. Nonetheless, it was a very spicy pizza, and that's my spicy story. Hope you like it. And Leo said that spicy foods make you keep sweating even at lower bodily temperatures, thus cooling the body even though it feels hot. Huh. So in short, are you saying that spicy foods will trick your body into feeling hot and make you sweat to cool off, but because you're hot on the inside and not on the outside, you will keep sweating and cooling off even though you're actually freezing? Is that what you're saying? That it tricks your body into cooling off, and in the end you may cool off more than you needed. Because if that is so, then I was right. And pepper is actual evil spice. But no matter what anybody says, the best spice is still Old Spice. Because why not? Why wouldn't it be? And only you said who would win? One person or one small spicy boy? I don't know, Oni. Who would win? I'm not the person with the answers, I'm the person with the questions. And by questions, not like I mean the interrogator or whatever, but as in I'm the bamboozled boy who knows nothing. So in short, I'm Jon Snow. Which was fun. I mean, not necessarily fun, it was misleading as hell. Because way back in the 2013s and whenever, when Game of Thrones was becoming this big, huge thing that everybody was watching and talking about, and I was still resisting it because it was pop culture and whatnot. And whenever people started posting Game of Thrones things or Game of Thrones memes, everybody was like, so for this next season of Game of Thrones, I know that this will happen, that will happen, those things will happen, and I hope that this happens. But one thing I know for sure is that Jon Snow will still know nothing. And imagine you have zero context of what Game of Thrones is. Imagine that the only thing you know is that it's a show about intrigue, in a way, and about these medieval sort of hijinks and characters and whatnot. So with that in mind, you're like, okay, so it's a medieval kind of scenario, political hijinks, and a character named Jon Snow that knows nothing. So whenever people said that, the thing I kept picturing was that Jon Snow was amongst these politicians, and not necessarily politicians, but these well, he was a big player in the local politics in a way, and the thing was that he was in the middle of it all. Like, it was like Mr. Bean. Somehow he finds himself really in the thick of some big plot or conspiracy, and yet he knows nothing. So people ask him, what do you know about this person? What are they doing? What's up with them? And he knows nothing. And that was his thing. And then I kept picturing him, and I did not know how to picture him, as if he was the sort of person who knew nothing, who actually knew nothing, and was like just luckily making it. Like, everybody was like, oh no, he certainly does know something, let's keep an eye on him. But he actually knew nothing, and people were trying to ambush him and whatever, and he was just surviving by pure dumb luck. Or if he actually knew everything and he was like the actual little finger of the show, and he knew all things but he played dumb, so people would not know his secrets. And whenever anybody got too close to realizing the truth, Jono would go like, I know nothing, and then it would revert to a state where everybody's like, oh well, okay, then I guess he actually does not know anything. And then I watch the show and then I see that Jon Snow is actually a character that has nothing to do with that, with any sort of political intrigues whatsoever. And would you look at that, we're out of songs playing on the song request route. How about we throw some random songs in there then? Let me go and find a weird ass song or songs, plural, to throw in the play a song, the little machine that we have going on. Cause who knows? It may be a interesting little song. Problem is, I don't know any. So instead of throwing in songs, I'm just gonna turn off this song request for now and go back to my Spotify playlist with my own songs, because why not? Wait. What? Hey, what? Oh, good boy bot, why would you go and request a song when they turn off these song requests? You're too delayed, you know that. But anyway, as I was saying, when you go and actually watch the Game of Thrones show or read the books or whatever, then you realize that Jon Snow is not at all what I picture him to be, because of the memes and whatnot. It's just a rando, more or less of a rando character who, due to heroism and bravery and sheer luck in a way, ends up climbing ranks in this order really fast. And eventually he finds out fighting the forces of actual evil, and then he has to pull off all leverage he has with everybody he's ever known to try and get the pure forces of evil to retreat, but not before going through several hijinks and very, very bamboozling situations. So there is that. That's That's the whole gist of Game of Thrones. From what I have noticed and seen. I can hear you, and I'm afraid to be near you, and I don't know where to begin, and I don't know where to begin. Spirit in the desert, there's a forest, and I make up before us, and I don't know where to begin, and I don't know where to begin. Again, I lost my strength completely. Oh, be near me, tired old mare, with the wind in your hair. By the way, you guys, so what can you tell me about yourselves now? What sort of new games are you guys playing or extremely anxious for? What sort of games do you see in your guys' futures? Because the game I'm looking forward to the most right now is this new Tomb Raider game that is coming out next month. And not only it's coming out next month, but there was also this kinda pre-order bonus.
I am Jay Hunt Snow. I don't know anything new. I am Dumb Doggo.
Oh, you're not Jay Hunt Snow. And you're not a dumb doggo either, so don't say that. But there was this pre-order kind of deal, or if you pre-ordered the deluxe or whatever version of this new Shadow of the Tomb Raider ahead of time, you would get access through the early access play of sorts, so you could play it a couple of days prior to the actual game release. And being an anxious flea as I am to play me some Tomb Raider, I definitely got that pre-order thing. I know that we are theoretically supposed to stop pre-ordering games, and that's the only, and by stopping pre-ordering games, that's the only way game developers will stop counting on people pre-ordering games, so they will stop easily cashing in on some money, because the whole theory is that no matter what game it is, the developers know that people will pre-order the game because they're so anxious about it, and then they just release like a couple of videos about the game or a couple of talk like, the game is gonna be like this, it's gonna have that, and yada yada yada, and then people get super moist about the game, they pre-order it, and the developers didn't need to put all that effort into making the game. Just the promise of having a new game coming out was enough to make people give them money ahead of time for the game. So the developers, they know people are gonna get super moist about the games, they're gonna pre-order it, and then the developers are gonna get money ahead of time for pre-ordering the game, for the thousands and hundreds of pre-orders. So they don't bother to put up a working product because they have already cashed in a lot of money. So there's a whole movement of people saying, let's stop pre-ordering games, that way the developers will not cash in anymore on those, and those people getting the games on pre-order, and the developers will have to have a really good game out on day one. That's the only way people will talk good about the game, is if on release it works flawlessly, and then people will be like, okay, so it's working good on release, the game is amazing, get it. Then the reviewers will tell people to get it, and then people will get it. Not necessarily because, well, anything else. And also, hello there, WolfRain90, and moist indeed. I'm extremely moist for the new Tomb Raider that is coming out next month. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That's the game I'm looking forward to the most currently. Then after that, I'm also looking forward a little bit to, what's it called, the new Walking Dead game, except that I have to play the previous one, the third one, and didn't finish that one. And then I also have to be, I'm looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed, because I am a little Assassin's Creed whore. I played every single Assassin's Creed game except Rogue and the mobile ones, because no one cares about the mobile ones. They're not canon, except that they are in fact canon. And I'll be playing this new one because it looks dope, and I really like its dopeness. And WolfRain says, cool, you're gonna be streaming that? Hell yeah, I am. And that's the thing I was pondering and thinking about. Like I said, there was, I don't know if there is anymore, this pre-order bonus that if you pre-ordered the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the deluxe edition or whatever, you would get a early access. You get to be able to play the game 2 days before its actual release date. I think it's gonna release on the 14th, so I'm gonna be able to play it on the 12th of September, which is right around the corner. So I hope to dog that they do not have any sort of streaming embargoes, because hell yeah, I'm gonna stream that. But if they pull up some bullshit and say, hey, this game is out, but you cannot play it on streams because we don't want people to have the game experience spoiled for them or whatever, and it makes sense in a way, because if there are people playing the game before the release date and people can go to these places and watch people play the game, why would they bother buying the game in the first place? So I hope to dog there's not any sort of embargo on streaming Shadow of the Tomb Raider, because otherwise I'm gonna be miffed, because I'm extremely excited for this game and I don't want to wait to play the game, but I also don't want to play the game ahead of time and then come to the stream and be like, well, I already know everything about this game, I already finished it, but let's play it again. And the worst part is that theoretically I still have to finish the other Tomb Raiders, Tomb Raider 3, 4 and Chronicles, for my gigantic Tomb Raider marathon. Those are the last games I had to finish, and I never did finish them. The poor things. But to be fair, I did try to play them, but my computer refused to run them for whatever reason. Or at least it refused to run them in an acceptable manner. It worked, but it was all funky and weird, and it didn't. Oh, it was unplayable. And I think I'm done with this extra shading here on the characters. By which I mean I'm done with this page. Would you look at that? Now, to go through in the highlights. But also, WolfRain, Wolf morning to you and welcome to the stream. Or rather, Wolf evening, or whatever time of the day it is for you. How are you doing today? And all it says you're moist because you want to have an ice cold water and your dead ass is broke. Oh no. But only boy, you need that water, that delicious, those delicious H2O to keep hashtag hydrated. And also, Wolf Rain, I said that you're almost dinner time here, just got back from work, but you're good. Hope you're doing well too. Gonna prepare some food soon. Sure thing. Also, as it happens, my stream will be ending in half an hour. I'm just gonna throw in some last touches here on the comic. There's very little else for me to do stream comic-wise here, other than prepare for the next few things I have to do, such as the shading of the background and whatnot. But my stream is close to ending already. And I would like to know, are you going to be streaming again today? I must confess, I do not know your streaming schedule. So I do not know what and when you stream. So are you going to be streaming today? By the way, everybody, who is there, who is here rather, do make sure you stop whatever you're gonna be doing tomorrow apparently, and do go and check out Wolfrain90. He plays all sorts of cool, delicious little games, and big games too. He plays them big boy games. And yesterday he was playing some what was it called? He was playing Dead Cells, which is a lovely roguelike game that released a couple, released not too long ago, and you should go and check him out because it's awesome. And now that we're done with these, there's these crazy ass parts for us to fix that, which happened for some random ass reason. I think we're done ish. Now that I look back, I forgot to throw in these brighter shades here on this top panel. I have to do that. And Tiger, you said that you need to play more of that. Wolfrain, you said that you're hopelessly addicted. Oh, it does look like a nice game. Dead Cells. If I'm not mistaken, I got that game a while ago. Like, by a while ago, I mean something around 7 to 20 months ago. I don't know how long it has been on early access for it, but I got it quite some time ago. I played a little bit of it, and by a little bit of it, I mean less than an hour. And then I played, I died a lot, and I was like, oh, okay, this game is cool. Gotta play it someday, but then I never did. Because that's what I do with most of my games. But it looks dope. And now that it has been actually released and it's out of early access, I guess it's only gonna get better. Or it has gotten better in every possible way. I saw that there was another game coming out of the sort, which is Death's Gambit, I think. Which was a game that was teased or announced a long time ago, like before Dark Souls 3 was even a thing, if I'm not mistaken. was announced a long time ago, and people did not know if and when it was coming out, but apparently it's here already. Death's Gambit. Do you plan to play that one too, Wolfring? Because that is a very Souls-like game, but 2D. And I think if you like Death's Dead Cells, you're probably gonna enjoy that one too. You and everybody else who enjoys those Souls-like hard-ass games. And Dagger says the whole one more run does get you. Wolfram says yes indeed, good time to try it out, Douglas, since it came out officially. And the integration is fun. Oh yes, I've seen that yesterday. This whole thing of your viewers can more or less have some control over the game. They're not necessarily super changing radically the whole flow of the game, but they are doing some sort of change to how the game behaves and how everything works. And that sounds dope, because I think it was Vermintide 2 that had something like that. And Dagger say a very solid game, you like it, even if it can kill you in 5 minutes. And Wolfram, you didn't even know about Death's Gambit, but it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on. And Anya said you did the math with your bits and you have exact bit for the 4K. Oh, that's delicious. That's super duper delicious. But I don't know if it's worth using them right now on it, because like I said, I'm gonna be traveling, so no, I won't be able to do any art for a while. I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to stream for a while. So hold on to your bits. And Wolfram says your viewers made you lose boss fights more often than you care to admit that. Really? Because yesterday that's the thing I was super duper worried about. The whole one viewer can become the captain bird, Captain Chicken for the map and help or hinder your progress throughout the game. And in a way that's super duper fun because people can interact with the game and in more ways than just watching it, which is fun. But in a way they can seriously hinder your progress and really screw you over if they are hell-bent on doing that. This is the correct orientation for this picture here. Now let's shade the inside of the car. PG car shade. And now let's throw some colors into it. Yep. And also, Tiger said Twitch integration, and yes, Vermintide 2 has it, so you can vote on things that will happen through the streamer, and the integration for that itself looks cool. Yeah, the integration with Vermintide 2, I didn't get to check it out because when Vermintide 2 released, the integration thing didn't work properly, I don't think. So the game released, but the integration wasn't truly there, so it was kind of hard to check it out. And besides, it's kind of trickier because you're not playing by yourself, you're playing with a group of people, normally 4 people. So if people decide to screw up, to help or screw up the game, they're not doing that for the person they're reviewing. They do that for the entirety of the party who's playing with the person. So unless it's one of those streams where it's not necessarily watching just one single person play, but you're watching those streamers who are like a group of people, and then it's a different experience altogether. And the whole integration that Vermintide had with Twitch was much more mild and less frequent than I had hoped. It wasn't like you can heal the person whenever, you can do this, you can do that, you can pseudo control the bosses, you can just choose what sort of items will spawn more frequently or less frequently, and other small things. Still, it's a cool idea though. And Oni, you said that you gotta hold them off for HP recovery, but whether it's gonna be not safe for work. Wolverine, yeah, they like to deny you your heals. You poor guy. Nobody should have heals denied to them. Heals are necessary to stay alive. So you need better views, Wolf. And on you said back then the stream boss thing didn't have HP recovery, so if you cheered you'd hurt yourself. But they fixed it. Really? And goddammit, looking at the interior of the truck makes you want to draw on the details. I mean, hell yeah, there's a lot of things I have not thrown in there. For a lot of reasons, true, because, you think, Doug, you could easily have added a gigantic amount of details to the car and whatnot, but if you stop to think about it, this whole bit up here and this whole bit down here are going to be occupied by lettering. Or even down here, I don't know. But there's going to be lettering all over the place, so lettering here as well. So people are, I hope, people are not going to pay that much attention to the details, because there's not going to be a whole lot of them. There's not going to be space for them. So now let's do the glasses. And as you suggested, Oni, let's do them nasty, old, purple-ish tint for the glasses and the windows and whatnot. Hope you guys are ready for this. Queue up another hour of me slowly and painfully selecting areas with the lasso tool. Wolf said, it's fine, you're a masochist. Well then, I am glad that you do not feel bad about your viewers screwing you up in the game. So long as everybody's having fun and everything is a-okay. By the way, Wolf, if you don't mind me asking, what do you work with? I don't think I do know. You probably said in one of your streams, but I probably was not there to hear what it might have been. Because despite being a good doggo, I'm not the best kind of doggo. And you said that there's no what? There's no weather strip, no plastic moldings, rack, top, ceiling, door, panel. It makes you vibrate with anxiety. Well, only it's time for you to look away. Look away and do not vibrate with the anxiety of seeing a half-complete car. Whereas instead you can check out something else. And Wolf, you said that you do administrative work for a web store. And this song is super nostalgia. Oh yeah, it is. Even I had forgotten about this song until the other day when we went out with some friends. One of them is really into the nostalgia vibes. In fact, every time we hang out, it's like people stop releasing new songs after 2005. Yeah, those are the best moments to remember. These old songs used to exist. And what do they sound like now? There we go. Let's call this layer glass with all caps. Because why not? Oh hell yeah, this delicious purple. I know he says Doug like big band music. I don't know what exactly big band means, Oni. You know I do not know English. And you keep saying your English words and I don't understand what they mean. I'm gonna throw all of those crazy nouns and adjectives at me. You gotta tone it down and explain thoroughly what exactly it is. Wolf says you listen to 3 Days Grace quite a bit. Once upon a time. Back when the sky was still blue. Nowadays it's this sicklish shade of yellow mixed with some gray and dangerously toxic fumes. All those fumes. It's making the frogs gay, as that one Newscaster reporter said. I wonder what's up with that guy nowadays. I wonder if he's still making accusations and spouting nonsense. As over here in Brazil there is still very well known newscaster. Well, not this one, but these various ones, newscasters, and no matter what sort of nonsense they say and how many times people call them out on their less than accurate reports, they still get to be working doing that, reporting news. I still remember this one day. I think the internets were all over the place about this video of a person driving a car in one racing game. Not necessarily a car, it was driving a limo. Possibly some Gran Turismo game had a limousine or whatever. And this car was doing this track on reverse. So they were driving the car in reverse on that track. And they were doing a pretty good job of it. And they posted the video online and all the people were like, oh, that's great, good driving. But then our newscaster reporters made this whole small story about how that's not the color I want. He made all this story about how in the United States the drivers, the presidential drivers, the drivers for the politicians and whatnot, they are trained to drive in reverse in case the president or whoever gets attacked and they have to run away. And they kept showing the video of the car driving in reverse in the game. And everybody who was just slightly knowledgeable knew that was a game, and I was like, oh no, wait. Whereas the people all over the place were like, wow, would you look at that? How cool. But then again, I wonder how newscasting works. Most definitely, the guy who is newscasting the news isn't the same guy who is fetching the news that are being broadcasted all over the place. But still, I wonder how that works. Maybe I'll go and befriend some journalists and ask them those sort of questions. Learn a little bit more about their trade. But so someday in the future, a very distant, non-existent future, I can write a comic about journalists who doing all sorts of crazy shenanigans. Because like it or not, for you to be able... Okay, I did the wrong color here. For you to be able to write good, accurate comics or whatever about some sort of job or work or people, it helps tremendously if you have contacts in that area who can tell you how those things work. But anyway, Tiger, you said a big band is a type of jazz where there is a usually larger group of instruments. Usually was for when there are balls or large galas or parties where there was dancing, usually very upbeat jazz music. I see. And if that is the case, then hell yeah, I do like big bands and jazz music. Those give me those delicious Fallout vibes in your songs. Okay, so let's throw this opacity to 40, and maybe let's go back to 100 and adjust this color a little bit. Maybe it can be even more purple-ish. And only Doug did good boy bot crasher, that was the SR cutoff. Yeah, I turned off the song request because we are nearing the end of the stream and we ran out of musics. So might as well save up your good boy pounds for the next time. So Oni, I have thrown in these purple-ish shades for the windows, but I do think they're a bit too purple. What do you think? I would not know if they are true purple or not. What do you think? And also, hello there, Neko. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And Neko, you said you're up. And oh my, Wallace, what a boy. He's a canine boy, that's what he is. Best sort of canine boy. The bearded kind. And only it said it's good. Oh, then I'll keep it this way. Neko, you said is that a beard on Nathan? What? There's no beard on Nathan. And only you said, but fade it out a bit more from the top. On the first panel, you mean? That is doable. Kinda sucks that on this layer here. Just selecting this is kinda ugh. But I can do that. I can do something like that, so it's not so further down. You gotta make it look like it's faded out slowly by sunlight. No, you said. The side windows. Do you have any reference pictures for that, Oni? Because if you do have pictures, they will speak 1,000 words, which will make my job much easier. If you have them. Because doing this sort of guesswork is doesn't work very well. And also, Tiger, you said Benny Goodman, Glenn Miller, Dizzy Gillespie. I don't know how to pronounce that name. To name such a few. And Neko said, isn't that somewhat a beard on Nathan's cheek? No. And only you said that no, most of the truck's windows tints are already clear. Well then, I will figure that out some other time. We'll fetch up some references online some other day, some other hour, and we'll do this later when we have time for that. But for now, I think we are mostly done. Because damn, look at this. Here on page 15, you have Nathan and Wallace getting ready to leave. Then they are saying goodbye and driving off into the distance. Then here on page 16, they're already driving off into the distance and talking to one another. So now all that we truly actually need is a true background. To throw him behind the car, because they cannot be hanging out there in the void. We need an actual background. So what I'm gonna do is go back to page 14, because this page has delicious backgrounds. And I'm gonna steal this delicious background here and throw it on page 15. Gonna pick up some of those colors and fill in the rest of the thing here with those delicious hues that we have. How about a little, what color was it? This guy was a kind of a orange-ish yellow or something. Oh, my dog with studio. Chill out. Leaving a little less opaque brush. Something here. Maybe some dark blues. Show that the sun is setting down and everybody's gonna have a chill nap time soon. I don't know if this works. This looks good or not. I'm gonna do the thing I always do when I'm not sure if my backgrounds are good or not. I get a big white-ish brush and paste it over to make it to fade it away a little bit. Maybe I'll do that with a yellowish sort of brush. Okay, there we go. Doesn't look amazing, but it looks better. And now I'll follow with doing that for the rest of the other, for the background for all the other panels in the future. Not right now though, because right now it's lunchtime. And Oni said, here's the odd thing: windshields have a bit of a tint on the top, and it stays solid no matter what. The side window tints fade out by sunlight, from top to bottom. The back window fades slowly. Send me references about that later on, then we'll get to see that. And also, Nathan, hello to you, but also goodbye to you, because it is time for us to say goodbye. The stream has ended. It's already 1 in the afternoon, and it's time for me to go and have lunch. You know, I need to have me some lunch, or else I'll become a very, 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 very hungry doggo without my daily nutrition dose. So, like it or not, this is it for today. What we did today in these 4 hours of streaming was shade up these characters, but this shading is looking good, it's looking professional. If not professional, at least it's looking classy. So we did the shading for page 15, and then we did the shading for page 16. We also threw in some purple tint for the windows, because why not? So now I have Nathan and Wallace driving through whatever, and you know, having a delightful conversation that will end with Nathan looking super at the camera. And other than that, as always, thank you guys so very much for being here today, watching the stream, joining in the conversation, and you know, having a nice time overall. It has been a long, stressful and exhausting week of us working on the comic, getting it ready, done, and looking rather good. I must say I'm feeling mighty confident with how the comic is looking. So, like it or not, things are looking up. things are definitely looking up. So thank you all of you for being here on the stream today, for the company, the help, everything. Thank you guys so very much, and I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow, where we'll be doing some other streaming time as per usual, except that tomorrow I don't know what we will be doing, because I will probably already be done with the comic, because I'm now in the afternoon after lunch. I'm gonna throw in some more work on the comic, and tomorrow we're gonna be doing something completely different. I don't know what, I don't know how, I don't know why, but we're gonna be doing something different. So now, without further ado, it's time to say goodbye. So how about you guys go check out Seth Wolfbane today. They're playing Dead by Daylight, which is good. I guess people like Dead by Daylight. Or you can also go and check out Spiker Connie, who's playing some For Honor. I don't know which games you guys would rather watch, but those are your options today. Or you can go and check out Shadowka, who's playing Shadowka221, who's playing Stalker, Call of Pripyat. I don't know if you guys are into that. But anyway, like I said, tomorrow we will be back with something else, possibly playing more Banner Saga or not. And other than that, that's the last stream I'll be doing for a while, because I'm going on vacations. But anyway, we'll talk more about my vacation tomorrow, and until then, stay awesome, do great things with your life, be good boys and good girls, and stay awesome. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye, and be careful on your way out. There are evil things lurking in the shadows. Don't let them take you. So watch out for those things.